my question, I'll introduce myself. My name is Meera Disilla. I'm a true Bangalorean, but married to a Telgai. And I've realized that movies are everything, and your father-in-law's dialogues make it common conversation for us at home. So, starting with that, Mr. Lokesh, you've often spoken about positioning Andhra Pradesh as India's next startup state. I personally, and my husband as well, we've spent the last 2 decades in Australia building and scaling up technology ventures. I've seen how ecosystems mature when innovation is made sustainable, not just exciting. Now, how does your government envision creating a sustainable startup ecosystem in Andhra Pradesh? And I'm particularly interested about long-term digital assets, such as blockchain infrastructure, CBDCs, or proof-of-stake technologies. And would you be open to exploring global collaboration models that have worked well in markets like Australia?
I think it's a very valid question. We believe in the power of mentoring for any startups. There's capital available everywhere, but there's no mentoring available. So the approach that we've taken is we've created an incubator/accelerator, which is the Ratan Tata Innovation Hub, which is based out of our greenfield capital city, Amaravati. And then we have nodes across the various strategically important areas. So we have another 4 nodes. And each of these nodes and the main hub are working with the private sector. So we have Tata's and their leadership mentoring the node in Amaravati. We have Adani's mentoring a node, Jindal's mentoring a node, Greenco, which is a homegrown renewable energy company, they're mentoring a node. There's Mega, which is an infrastructure company, again homegrown, they're mentoring a node. So, and it's 1, we got the private sector, 2, we got the academia, so we got all the private government universities in those nodes in the areas that they are to also be part of this, and then we are backing it with funds. As a state, my strong belief is government shouldn't be spending money directly. We should raise funds, right? I think now we are at that position as a country that we can do it. So we're looking at innovative models where money is actually being raised. This entire initiative is being headed by a very young IAS officer. She is from IIT Kharagpur. So we matched, bureaucratic leadership, political leadership, and the entire process around it. We just launched it, I think, about 45 days back. So we'll be more than happy to engage. So the Economic Development Board representatives will be staying back. So, they'll be the first port of call, and they can lead conversations from there. They can introduce you to the CEO of RTIH. Thank you. If you look at currently, we have a position in textiles, we have a position, of course, in aqua. As I said, we're number 1 in shrimp, and a few other sectors that we're actually doing quite reasonably well. Kia cars made in Andhra Pradesh do get exported around our region, so we have taken a strong position there. Of course, IT exports continue to grow in my state, so that's very, very important. To specifically answer your question, I believe it's a two-way trade. So the way I look at it is the great opportunities for Indian entrepreneurs and Andhra companies to actually look at investments in Australia. So to be fair, the government has been exceptionally proactive, and the conversations that I've had at the federal level, at the state level, also at city council levels. It's been very inspiring, the kind of vision that the politicians here also have. So we've started looking at, and we started talking to companies in my state, some who are based out of my state, some who have invested in my state, to look at opportunities in Australia, sectors like hospitality, critical minerals, education, skill development. So these were sectors that were discussed. In terms of what Australia can offer to India, sports is one sector that we're looking at. Of course, skill development is a no-brainer. As we all know it, education, we're already quite big in terms of our relationships. So I think there's clear sectors that we've identified where Australian companies can also look at investing in my state. In terms of exports, I think we live in a very dynamic world. And I believe that every country and every state should diversify and have look at other countries and other states. So historically, as a state, certain sectors have been very reliant on certain countries, and then with the changing politics, we've had challenges. So after that, we've insisted that our exporters also look at new markets and look at products where there is a gap in that market. So it's not about saying, I have this, so will you take it or not? But to actually analyze the market and find the right product at the right price point and the right sort of a fit. That's one thing I said. To the Australian companies, especially who are in commodities, in Sydney, I had a sit-down lunch with quite a few of them. I've asked them to look beyond wheat and certain commodities. You know, there's so much of potential in things like mushrooms and horticulture. There's massive opportunities that India has, and we can make, and especially Andhra Pradesh, which is among the top 5 states in horticulture, aspiring to be number 1. We can export to the world. And you know, our vision is not to just make the local variants of mango, but to make the Japanese variant, to grow the Japanese variant of mango in Andhra Pradesh. So there are amazing opportunities like that where I think we should look at, based on the companies that you represent, and explore opportunities through either, I think it's Australia Trade, Austrade, or of course our Economic Development Board, and find opportunities of mutual interest. It's a long answer for a short question, but I've understood that I think it's a two-way trade from Andhra's perspective. Thank you.
అదొక్కటే కాకుండా ఇంకోటి ఏంటంటే మనకి 96 నుండి 2004 వరకు అండి స్వర్ణయుగం, తెలుగు ప్రజలకి స్వర్ణయుగం 96 నుంచి 2004 బాబు గారు సీఎంగా ఉన్నప్పుడు అదే మ్యాజిక్ జరిగిందండి. అప్పుడు ఆ మ్యాజిక్ అనే దాన్ని మళ్ళీ 2024 నుంచి 34 వరకు మీ ఆధ్వర్యంలో జరగాలని మా అందరి కోరిక సార్. అప్పుడు ఒక సైబరాబాద్ వస్తే ఈసారి ఒక అమరావతి రావాలి. ఆ సైబరాబాద్ నుంచి అమరావతి వస్తుందనే మేము అందరం ఆశిస్తున్నామండి. దానికి మీరందరూ మీకు ఏం కావాలంటే సార్, మనకు కూడా ఒక విజ్ఞప్తి, చిన్న వాటికే మనం ఏదో వెనకడుగు వేయటం అది ఉండకూడదండి. ఎన్ని కష్టాలు ఎన్ని నష్టాలు, ఎందుకంటే 2024లో చూసాం పద్మవ్యూహం అల్లేరు లోకేష్ గారికి ఆపోజిట్గా పద్మవ్యూహమే. అప్పుడు ద్వాపర యుగంలో అభిమన్యుడు ఆ పద్మవ్యూహాన్ని ఛేదించలేకపోయాడు. కలియుగంలో లోకేష్ గారు పద్మవ్యూహాన్ని ఛేదించి కలియుగ అభిమన్యుడు అయ్యారు సార్. మీరు కలియుగంలో అభిమన్యుడు అంటే మీరే. ఆ పద్మవ్యూహాన్ని ఛేదించారు. దానికి మనందరం కూడా ఎప్పుడు కూడా ఆయనకి బలహీనత అవ్వకూడదు, బలం అవ్వాలి మనందరం. ఆ బలంతో ఆయన గెలిపించాలి. ఇంకొక 10-15 సంవత్సరాలు మళ్ళీ ఈ గవర్నమెంట్ ఉంటేనే ఒక సైబరాబాద్ లాగా ఒక తెలుగు వారికి ఒక అమరావతి వస్తుంది. తెలుగు వాళ్ళు చాలా పెద్ద సంఖ్యలో ఉన్నారు. ఒక సైబరాబాద్ సరిపోదు, అమరావతి కావాలి, వైజాగ్ కావాలి. అవన్నీ కావాలంటే ఎన్ఆర్ఐస్గా మనం ఏం చేయాలో అదంతా ముందుండి చేయాలి. వేమూరు రవి గారు ఇంతకు ముందు నడిపించారు. నెక్స్ట్ ఆయన ఇప్పుడు ఏపీ ఎన్ఆర్టీఎస్లో చేరారు కాబట్టి వచ్చే ఎన్ఆర్ఐ టీడీపీ వాళ్ళు ఎవరున్నా సరే వాళ్ళకి వెన్నుదన్నుగా మనందరం నిలబడి తీరాలి అని చెప్పేసి మనందరం కూడా ఒక్కసారి ప్రతిజ్ఞ చేసి మొత్తానికి ఇక్కడికి వచ్చినందుకు సార్, ఆస్ట్రేలియా వచ్చినందుకు మీకు మరొకసారి ధన్యవాదాలు చెప్తూ, మీరు ఎంత ఇస్తారో ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్కి దానికి డబుల్ ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ ప్రజలు మీకు తిరిగి ఇవ్వాలని కోరుకుంటూ ఇస్తామని వాగ్దానం చేస్తూ థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్.